Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Chris Moon. We got Mama Moon right here. Hey, we are doing a really cool event tonight. This is our first Facebook Live ever, so if we mess up, you gotta forgive us on this one. But hey, we just wanted to tell you, we are actually at the Molly Brown House, Denver, Colorado, at something called The Afterlife of Margaret Brown. Right. And this is the second time we've done this. This is a charity event. We are really lucky because we were actually the first group, the only group that's ever been allowed to come in here and do a paranormal investigation. These guys used to not even allow flash photography inside the place. So, very cool stuff. Anyway, we've gotten a lot of great evidence. The first time that we did this, we did a Ghost Hunter University here, and that was just insane.
Amazing.
So what we wanted to do tonight is kind of take you around a little bit and show you what we've done, give you a little bit of history on the place, see what you think. I mean, this is just kind of something brand new that we're doing. Look over here, that's me. Unbelievable. It's amazing stuff. So, oh, there it is. Unbelievable, that's the gigantic me. So right off the bat, what I want to do is go around the room, just kind of introduce everybody and let you know who's here. If we just flip the phone around, this is Melanie. Hi. Yeah, Melanie is going to be filming for you tonight. She's going to announce something really cool that we're going to be doing here in a few minutes, so make sure to make friends with her. She's going to be one you want to talk to. Over here we have Kristen.
Hi guys.
Kristen is like the jack of all trades. She does everything for the Ghost Box Paranormal Society team. She is the organization. Without her, we're in big trouble. So yeah, Kristen goes above and beyond. Over here, oh my God, it's Jerica. Okay, Jerica kind of keeps things moving for us. We just call her Jay Shantae. It's very important. Everybody knows. It's a long story. I'll get into it one day. But this is Jerica. She's another member of the team. Over here we have Stevie. Stevie just basically kicks butt at everything. When Stevie is not doing team things, basically Stevie will go through and be security for us. So we have a personal bouncer. We were at the Lumber Baron Inn, and Stevie was kicking people out. They got a little too rowdy. So we count on him to do a lot of different things for us. Back behind us is this guy. I don't know exactly who he is. He just kind of hangs out sometimes. This is Dad. This is Papa Moon over here. He's basically the tech guy. He does photography for us. He was my partner in Haunted Times magazine, if anybody remembers Haunted Times.
So we're putting me in a rocking chair.
he can't move. He doesn't want to let you know that, but yeah, he can't move. But he also runs the Capitol Hill Ghost Tour here in Colorado and take people around and show them all the different houses. This house is where everything starts. So absolutely. Oh, she just popped in. This lady, I think I know her. Yeah, this is the lovely Dina, of course, my wife, and she does it all too. She's a team member. She's an owner of White Wolf. She does it all. So,
It's true. She keeps us all sane.
yeah, she does. She keeps some of them sane. But anyway. So anyway, what we wanted to do again is just kind of take you around the house, kind of show you some behind the scenes stuff. Right now we're up on the 3rd floor, and I want to say we are sweating to death because the air conditioning is not working so well. We're in an old house. How old is the house?
The house is over 100 years old. It was built in 1890.
1890. So yeah, not a lot of good air conditioning back in 1890. But we are back here. There's the gigantic version of us back in the corner there. That's the Moon Family Psychic Experience banner. And this is kind of the 3rd floor. This is where everything's going to be held tonight. They're going to bring everybody up here. This is not a Ghost Hunter University. This isn't really our event. This is a event just for the house. It's a charity event. We're trying to raise funds for the house.
Preservation.
Yeah.
We're doing some preservation for the front porch. We're adding a new front porch. We're actually going to be putting classrooms in the basement so we can open it up to elementary school kids that want to learn who Molly Brown was and what she did on the Titanic and all of her history.
Absolutely. So this is the 3rd floor. You might want to just really quickly right now give a little bit of history of Molly Brown for those who don't know, because we've got people literally from all over the world who are going to be viewing this. So I want to give them a chance to kind of
get an
get to know.
idea of who Mrs. Brown
Elaine
was.
from the Lumber Baron Inn just logged in.
Elaine.
Elaine is with us tonight.
Oh, Elaine
You
from the
know.
Lumber Baron Inn. Yes.
You
Okay.
know.
Hi, Elaine. How are you?
Oh, well, just give some brief history about Mrs. Brown. Those of you who have ever seen the movie Titanic, obviously she had a small part in it. It was very small. It wasn't historically correct. But anyway, you kind of have an idea who Mrs. Brown was. She was a survivor of the Titanic. She was one of our Colorado heroines here. She did a lot for women's suffrage. A lot of people are not aware of that. But she actually worked with Alva Van Vanderbilt in Newport, Rhode Island, had a huge, big convention of women from all walks of life. And Colorado was the second state to ratify the woman's right to vote. Do you know what the first state was?
Wyoming.
Wyoming
I
was
know
the
that.
first state. Yes, I've told you this history.
I've
And,
heard it once or twice.
but Mrs. Brown did a lot of things for all kids. She loved children. She worked to change the juvenile justice system here in Colorado. At that time, children were incarcerated with adults and charged as an adult. And she thought that was wrong, so working with the Denver District Court and a lawyer who was a close friend, they actually got the law changed. So children would be incarcerated with children only, and children would be charged as children. She was one of the founding members of the Denver Dumb Friends League. We've gotten a lot of our puppies and kitties from there. She did a lot of great things. She won the French Medal of Honor for her work with the soldiers in World War I. She translated Samuel Clemens' work, Mark Twain, who lived very close by her. In fact, we saw her house in Hannibal, Missouri when you and I were on tour.
That's great.
Yeah, she won that. She actually was an ambulance driver in World War I. She drove an ambulance. She helped restore some of the burnt out and bombed villages in France. She did a lot of different things. She's probably one of the most misunderstood people. I think she was a woman ahead of her time. She really was. She believed that women should be educated, and of course, during that time in history, women were not educated. They did not go, to colleges. At the time, Mrs. Brown could speak 5 foreign languages fluently. One of them, I'm understanding now, is Russian.
Wow.
So she did know her stuff. Education was very important to her. She had a tutor not only for her 2 children, but also for herself. So this kind of gives you just a little bit of idea about
Who she
Mrs. Brown
was.
and what she did and all the different things that she did.
All right.
All right?
Hi, everybody. I keep sneaking out of frame, so we're trying to get this down. Okay, so we want to take you on a quick tour, kind of a behind-the-scenes thing. That's something that people usually don't get to see. So we're going to kind of sneak around the corner here and start taking a look. And I'm going to have you tell a little ghost story.
Okay.
All right, so we are now heading out of the
Ballroom.
Ballroom.
3rd floor ballroom.
Okay. And if you look this way, these are the main stairs that go down. We'll
Front
hit those here in a
stairs.
second. At the Molly Brown house for 25 years. 25 years. So she's dedicated a lot to this. And before they would let you talk about the ghosts for
Right.
kind of a standard thing,
Right.
she would get the real deal. She would get to see some things nobody else saw. So come this way, we'll talk about it. We'll get everybody out here. There's some other people. We've got.
Connection, oh, it's back.
Hi, we're back.
Little technology.
Yeah,
glitch here.
we're trying to keep the connection going, but it's a little crazy right now. So we're going to see if this will work. If we do, we're back. We're there. We're gone. We're back.
It's good.
Okay, we're back. All right,
Okay.
I'm going to have you tell the ghost story back where we were because we lost our wireless back there. So
About the
butler.
butler. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Brown had a butler who lived here at the house. And when he was in service to them, he got ill and he died. So a lot of the time, Mrs. Brown's mother would see the butler standing at the 3rd floor, which that's where he would be, staircase, kind of guiding people along. She saw him a lot. Unfortunately, Mrs. Brown's mother and father, the Tobins, died here at the house also. In fact, Molly's father was found on, or Molly's mother.
Yeah.
Mother was found on the front porch in her rocking chair by a Denver policeman. She had been dead for, well,
We don't know.
a
how long.
while. So
They just thought
both
she was
of
having
them-
a long nap.
Yeah, they thought she was just resting out there. So the house has a lot of very interesting things. When Chris and I were doing an investigation here many, many years ago, we were here on the 3rd floor, and in the back corner here, we saw a full-bodied apparition that we do believe was, in fact, the butler. So we got that on film.
That was pretty interesting.
That was really interesting.
Back
Right
where
in the
we
corner.
haunt it now.
Now
but
we're,
yeah,
that corner.
it's a whole different thing.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to do a bold move right now. We're going to try to go down the stairs.
Try.
We may lose you. If we lose you, we're going to switch to another connection, and we're going to see if we can get everybody back. We're going to give it a shot. So let's go.
Okay, ready? This is the front staircase, and you were never allowed on the front staircase if you were help. Mrs. Brown was very good to her health. She took very good care of them. But the idea was back in Victorian times, the only time a servant would be on the front staircase would be if they were escorting someone to a different.
A week, but we're
We're gonna keep trying. Oh. Anything?
it says the connection's weak, but let's try it.
Okay, can you see us?
Hopefully. Someone give us a thumbs up. Like the page if you can see Chris.
Anybody?
I see that. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, there we
We're
go.
on. Yay.
We're back. We're downstairs. We just shut off the internet. Easiest way to
Easiest
go.
way to go.
All right, so go ahead. We were talking about.
The sunroom. This is the sunroom here. If you can look over here at the stained glass windows. Again, the house was built in 1889, and these are all original. These beautiful stained glass windows. We're facing west, and as the sun comes in, this whole room lights up. It's a beautiful, beautiful color. This is kind of a room you could come to get away from what was going on in the rest of the house. All the committee meetings and things Mrs. Brown was having from time to time. And if you look over here on the wall here, we actually have a picture of Mrs. Brown, her husband JJ, her son Larry, and her daughter Helen. This was taken in Leadville, Colorado. This is where they made all their money in mining. Over here on this side, we have a picture of the children in front of the house in a pony cart. This is Mrs. Brown on her horse out at their summer farm called Abaca. Over here we have a young Mrs. Brown and Mr. J.J. Brown. This is what they look like. Mr. Brown made his money in gold mining. A lot of people were made millionaires here in Colorado in the late 1800s and early 1900s. They mined gold, silver, and copper here in Colorado.
A lot of money.
A lot of money was made here.
Let's run through some rooms because I know we're running out of time before the guests are get here.
Right.
We want to make sure to get everybody through.
First bedroom.
First bedroom right here.
This was her daughter Helen's bedroom. If you'll notice the canopy bed, it was in fact her bed. Also, if you can see, the walls are not wallpapered. They're lined with silk cloth. It made the room very, very warm, soundproof. This was one of Mrs. Brown's favorite rooms in the house, was her daughter Helen's. There's been a lot of people who've told us at night they can see Mrs. Brown standing in front of the window looking out onto the street. So we've had a lot of hauntings in this room.
Yeah, really busy room. All right, so we're gonna head over here. This is my personal favorite, by the way.
You know a lot about this one, Chris.
Yeah, this is Molly's room. I'll let you give the history, but I just wanted to say I love coming in this room. And tonight my station is actually going to be in this room, so I'm going to be using the ghost box in this room, connecting directly with Molly. And that's the most amazing thing about this is the first time that we did it, Molly wasn't sure about the whole thing and she was quiet most of the night.
Right.
And then at the end of the night, she just started talking all at once. And it was really interesting. But the last time that we were here for our Ghost Hunter University, I turned the thing on and she was ready to entertain.
Right.
She basically was going to talk about anything, everything. She interacted with all the guests, answered their questions. We actually found out from her through the ghost box, she had a cat.
That's right.
And there was a girl who was asking about the cat and all of a sudden looked down at her arm. Guess what? Had a cat scratch down her arm. Nothing vicious or violent, but it was just, you know, letting us know that the cat was there.
Right.
So she talked about some of the subjects she went through was women's suffrage. She talked about how she used to like to entertain here,
Right.
all the places she used to like to visit. And she gave us some really specific information about animals' names that I guess weren't even written down. And some specific dates and things that she felt really comfortable about. She talked about the fact that she did not like being buried in New York City. She does not like New York. and she wished that she was buried here, and she does not like being buried next to her husband as
Yes.
well, because there's a whole drama that goes along with that
All
thing.
drama.
So yeah, but
All drama.
JJ and her still fight back and forth, and that's one of the funny things when we have the box on, and we can listen to JJ and Margaret actually kind of battle back and forth. They're still fighting in
Right.
the afterlife. Gotta love that. So
Remember
something for
what-
us to all look forward to in the next world.
Remember what she said about the Titanic, being on the Titanic?
Yeah.
That was really interesting. It came through on the box that too many people died that night that didn't need to. The ship was moving much too fast for those conditions with all the icebergs out there. But she felt very angry about what happened to those people.
And you know, the thing that really kind of hit me emotionally was when she talked about being on the lifeboat
Right.
and going through the water and literally just going through all these bodies and these people screaming. There's nothing she could do to help them, moaning and screaming,
No.
and nobody would let her help anyone. It was just-
Bring anybody on to their lifeboat. Even though the lifeboat carried 75 adult people, there were only 12 women, 2 men and a 12-year-old boy on there. So again, too many people did
That's why
die
you
that
got to be
night.
prepared. Be prepared.
Right,
Very important.
absolutely.
Anyway, but yeah, I love this room. This is great, and I will be here tonight as well, doing some more stuff. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'll have to ask Melanie, but I think she's going to do some wandering tonight through the event. If you guys kind of are on Facebook and hanging out a little bit, and you see Chris Moon Live kind of thing happening, if you want to jump on, you might be able to ask some questions over the Ghost Box or ask some questions on some of the other equipment that we're using too. So hang around, see what happens. It can
Yeah.
be kind of cool.
I think we're going to jump over to Chris's personal page. So visit us there later tonight.
Yeah, we'll kind of switch back and forth between this page that you're on now and my personal one, and
Right,
we'll just do it. It'll be fun. So,
right.
okay. Do we have any questions from anybody, by the way? I've been just kind of rambling along. I know we've been talking. Has anybody been asking any questions? Do we need to touch base with anything?
Regina is logging in from North Carolina.
Love you,
and-
Regina. We miss you. We miss you so much. Remember John
Yes,
Kane and
yes.
Regina. Yeah, we miss Regina so
Hi,
much. Hi,
Regina.
Regina. We hope
And-
we get to see you live again
Yes.
soon.
And Sharon's from logging in from Deadwood, Texas.
Hey, Sharon. How are you?
Okay.
We have
Excellent.
Joni Heinrich as well.
Hey, Joni. Everybody's popping
Hey,
in.
that's great. That's
All my Facebook friends are coming. That's great.
Yes.
So someone said they even left an event to watch.
You left
Oh,
an
that
event
was-
to watch
That was
this?
Elaine.
We better
Thank
make
you,
this
Elaine.
exciting.
Thank you,
Jeez,
Elaine.
Okay, no pressure there. Oh my God.
Right, no.
Okay. So anyway, if you guys have any questions, Melanie, feel free to interrupt us if
Yep.
anybody has anything to say.
I'll
But
shout 'em
we're
out.
just going to kind of jump around because we want to give you the behind-the-scenes tour before everybody gets here.
Exactly.
So let's
Shall we
head
head
on
on
up.
down?
Yeah,
All
let's
right.
go.
I'll give you a better view of Molly's bedroom.
All right, we are heading to old JJ's room.
JJ and Molly did not share a bedroom. Most affluent families did not. They had separate bedrooms. This was usually when the house was built in 1889. Again, William Lang was the architect on it. This room was called the mother's room. The reason it was called the mother's room was, one, it's the only bedroom that has a built-in fireplace. Two, it has this alcove you can see
This is so cool,
here,
guys. Can you see
where
this?
you could put a bassinet or a baby's bed and kept the baby out of the draft.
Look at all the stuff in here. This is really cool.
Isn't
Can you,
that
can you get that
interesting?
with all the bags and the bedding and all that kind of stuff?
All that was there. And what else is interesting about this house is that this house had built-in closets. And we all have built-in closets, not fascinating now. But if you lived in the city and county of Denver in the 1890s, you were taxed every closet as if it were a room. So only the very affluent families did in fact have built-in closets. This particular closet is really interesting because you can open it, go into it, into the next room, into the main nursery. So if mama wanted to check on the children at night, they could go through this closet, into the next closet, and into the main nursery and not have to come out in their jammies and slippers and everything like
It
that.
almost reminds me of hotel rooms now, joining hotels.
Right,
you open the
right,
door
that's
and go through, yeah.
exactly, that was the idea.
Same
But
kind of idea.
this was JJ's. Also, this day bed that you see over here in the corner, this in fact did belong to JJ. This was his. The idea is during the day, if you wanted to take a quick nap in between business meetings or whatever, you could go ahead, lay down, not mess up the main part of the bed, get up, pull the covers, and keep going, but this in fact did belong to him. Doing investigations here, Chris and I have found a lot of different things go on here
Yeah.
in this room. A lot of things go on
JJ
here.
liked the girls, by the
He
way.
was
So
a ladies' man.
And one thing that's really kind of cool about this room, down in here, and then I believe, tell me if I'm wrong, in the basement, right?
Basement.
You'll actually smell cigar smoke from time to time. You'll actually have it come through because that's what JJ would do. Molly wouldn't let him, or Margaret wouldn't let him smoke his cigars, so he would sneak downstairs into the basement and smoke his cigars down there. And still to this day, you can still smell them. And it's like you really believe somebody is smoking a cigar. It's amazing.
It is amazing.
So very quickly,
Yes.
Dina is downstairs, Regina. She's reading the guests, and Lori would like to know how many animals she had and if she had more than just cats.
Yes, she had cats and dogs. Her two children, Larry and Helen, and then she had a lot of extended family live with her from time to time. Two of her nephews died here at the house, and they were infants, but there were always lots and lots of animals here. And then they had a summer place that they called the farm, or out in the orchards, the beautiful apple orchards. They had a huge big barn, lots of animals out there. They always had animals. In fact, that's why she was a member of the Dumb Friends League, is because she loved children and animals so much. She wanted to make sure that all the animals got a proper home.
Love her.
Yeah.
Love her. Okay, we're going to keep moving. And any other questions, guys, keep shooting them. Melanie will tell us, believe me. But we're going to kind of fly through because we want to make sure you guys get to see some of the cool stuff.
You two volunteers outside.
We've got a couple more.
Yeah.
If that's okay.
This is Molly and her sister and her son. Here is her daughter and her two children. These are all
This is her daughter-in-law,
it's Mrs. It's
Lawrence Palmer's
Palmer.
wife,
Thank you.
Yes.
Eileen, and this is Patrick and Elizabeth. And she's on Titanic coming back because he is desperately ill.
Okay, and that's the one.
The doctor's discovery is allergic to milk,
Right, right.
but they think he's going to die.
Didn't Larry marry her twice? Yes.
They marry, they have the two children,
and then they divorce,
and
Got
he's,
remarried.
Yeah.
and he's on his way to the First World War, and they remarry.
Married again, yeah.
Comes back, they divorce again.
Right, and then
And-
marries an actress.
An actress. His third wife is an actress.
Yes.
This is Helen and her two children. This is her daughter, Helen. Her name is Catherine Allen, but they call her Helen for some reason. And these are her two sons, and they have children.
And Kelvin would like to know why she was buried in New York.
Her daughter had her buried. That's where her husband JJ was buried, was in St. Ruth Cemetery, and her daughter had her buried right next to them, so they can continue to argue through eternity.
And they do.
And I'm sure
And they truly do.
And they do.
Yeah. All right.
And that's what the headstone looks like.
There's the headstone. Look at that.
Yeah.
Boy,
I have been
on the
there.
spot.
That's one place we haven't made
We
yet.
haven't made it there
We
yet,
haven't
have we?
made it there. We made it to the
Oh,
house.
the Holyrood Cemetery is absolutely gorgeous.
We're going to have to check that one out.
Absolutely gorgeous. If you get, and Helen's buried in the same
Yeah,
area.
I thought that she was. I remembered that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and you're here. So I don't get. You don't need me. I didn't realize you were here.
Okay.
Right here. Go ahead. Oh,
This
don't
is,
trip, don't fall.
this is the Tobin bedroom. Mrs. Brown was the Tobin before she married JJ. And her dream was to meet and marry a millionaire, which she did, and move her mother and father here, the Tobins, to this house. This was the Tobin bedroom. This is where they stayed. Over here on the wall, this is the
Getting really
original,
tight.
this is the original Tobin house. This is where Molly was born, lived with her mother, father, and her brothers. Also, this is just up the road, up the bank from Mark Twain's house, which we visited. This house.
Yeah, we actually went out there. It was
Yeah.
incredible when we
Yeah.
got to go out there. And we weren't really investigating. We were just kind of out there doing it. But
Right.
you could, it was really interesting to feel her energy. You could, from here, you know it's
Mm-hmm.
her, and you could feel it there as well. She was definitely kind of between the two places,
Right.
probably following you.
Right, I don't know. Could be.
But go ahead.
Here's the old Singer sewing machine. This is one of the original foot-operated one. We're real fortunate to have that. Mrs. Tobin did a lot of lace weaving also. They have I was trying to see if they still have it here, the lace weaving. No, here it is, right here. This is how they made lace. They moved the things around, made a pattern. This was quite an art in that day.
You think about how easy things are now,
Right.
how difficult it was to
Right.
make things back then. It's
A
just
lot
incredible. And that's what's really cool about talking to them and kind of learning about how it all
these
worked at
different
the time.
things,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right. Okay, we will move on. Watch the stool here if
Right,
you want.
yeah, watch
Melanie,
the-
I know you're watching more
Yeah.
the screen. So
And while we're moving, if anyone has any questions, be sure to post them.
yeah, please feel free. We'll answer
Absolutely.
everything we can.
And this hallway right here is where we have most of the paranormal activity. A lot of things happen
Oh,
here.
yeah, so you don't get eaten by the fan.
This is cool. They just changed this room, so this is my first time actually seeing it.
Right. Notice the wallpaper, interesting. This is not American Indian as everybody thinks it is. It's Turkish. It's a Turkish pattern that we have here on the walls. We actually, doing restoration here, we actually found a piece of it behind the radiator with the name of the wallpaper company in the corner. We contacted them. They reproduced it for us. This is exactly the way it looked. This room was their son Larry's room. Here is the doorway that comes through the
one that's
closet.
here, too.
This is the one that comes through. This is how Mr. Brown could escape from Mrs. Brown when he didn't want to deal with her, which is most of the time. He would come through here, go down the back stairs, through the kitchen, to the back porch, and out to the alley to the red light.
Red light district. And
Yeah,
there was
Market
a lot of,
Street.
yeah, we
Market.
had one of the best
Best.
red light
The
districts
best.
in the world.
Yes.
It was one of the best,
Yes.
the Old West thing, the whole
Yes.
thing. But they,
French girls.
French girls. What can you say? French girls.
Best champagne.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, what's interesting in Capitol Hill, the area that we're in right now, they actually had tunnels that ran underneath the streets, and the men used to use these tunnels to escape and get to the old red light district.
Right.
So basically, they had the opportunity to go and see these things for themselves. It's pretty amazing stuff. So, anyway,
This is a great piece of furniture. It didn't belong to the Browns, but we just recently acquired it, and we think it's absolutely beautiful, beautiful piece that we have here.
Do you know, Kelvin wants to know what happened in the hallway.
We've had a lot of different things happen as far as temperature changes. We actually saw a full-bodied apparition.
wasn't there a mist there once,
Yeah, there was
too?
a mist there. One of the docents was closing up one night, was walking through there, and actually felt something walk right through her. I mean, it was so, startled her so bad that she ran out and had somebody else close up the museum because she couldn't do it, but she felt something just like walk right straight through her
Yeah.
body. So a lot of activity
Pretty interesting stuff
right there.
here. One place I want to take them right now, because this
Okay.
is so cool, it's just one of those things. Down the back staircase, the servant staircase,
Servant
because
staircase.
this is me, I'm claustrophobic. If you guys know me, two things that get me, I can deal with the demons and the ghosts. Bats
Bats.
and claustrophobia.
Right.
Those are the two things
Two
that get me.
things.
This hallway gets me every time.
Yeah.
And there's some interesting energy when we get to the bottom of the
Mhm.
stairs. So we're going to take a walk down and see what we can find.
Just imagine what it was like for the maids and the butler to get down the stairway with dishes, glasses, laundry, things like that, and make it down to the kitchen area. Here we go.
You kind of see how tight
Yeah.
this is coming
It's
down.
very narrow.
Very, very narrow.
When we were restoring
And the other thing is the stairs are really short.
Real
So if
tiny.
you've got big feet, you're in trouble.
Yeah, little tiny people, little tiny people. When we were doing restoration here, we had no idea that this back staircase was here. It'd been all boarded up because it was a rooming house and a boarding house in the late 60s. So we didn't have any idea what it was like until we actually broke through the wall and found that this is where the third floor staircase
I
was.
just realized my sidewall is over there.
No.
Not even close. Maybe half if you're lucky. You guys are gonna love this. This is really cool. Ta-da!
This is the kitchen. This is the kitchen, and this is very much how it looked when Mrs. Brown lived here. We had what they call a freestanding sink over here on the wall. You could actually order these at a Sears and Roebuck catalog. Up above it, you'll notice we have an electric light, which was a big deal, because even though Denver was called the City of Lights, just like Paris, people kind of thought it was iffy, if it was going to stay or go, it was a bad thing. But they did believe if you put fruits and vegetables underneath the electric light, it would purify them. Go figure. I don't know. And we did keep electricity. Over here on the wall, this interesting little box here is called the Enunciator. The Annunciator is the first intercom system that was used here in Capitol Hill. You turned a dial on the wall upstairs, it moved the arrow, and it gave you an idea of ringing the bell down here if someone was needed in a certain part of the house. Over here on this side of the kitchen, we have what we call the butler's pantry. When we finally got this house, this room had been completely gutted, and we had no idea as to the cabinetry, the glass, the locks, the wood, anything like this, and we actually had to go back circa 1910 in order to get the placement of these particular cabinets and how it would stack up here to put your serving pieces to the dining room. This was called the butler's pantry.
Amazing, just amazing. I love it. So let's head out here. I know we're running short on time for this portion, so this almost speaks for itself. Guys, look at this ceiling. Can you see the ceiling up here?
William Langigan was the architect, and every house he built, he liked to leave a little something interesting. This particular ceiling is like a glass ceiling, a conservatory feel. Notice it has palm trees in each corner, and anyone who's ever spent a winter here in Colorado know
You need some palm trees.
Those palm trees are not going to make a whole winter. So.
Okay, so Donna has a comment. She said that there's a lot of interruptions in the live feed, and she wants to know if we feel like it's the spirits not wanting us to film tonight.
You know, the weird thing is the first time that we were here, I felt like the spirits were a little unsure about the whole thing. But since we did it last time, I think that they really were interested in us doing this. Now, what I will say is, and I'm sure all you guys know this too, whenever you have a lot of paranormal activity, there's usually disruptions with the feeds and things like that. That would not surprise me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you a couple of stories as we go along here, kind of funny things that happened to us and me and things along those lines. So anyway, let's kind of shoot back through here really quickly.
Another thing
But
that I'm
good point.
noticing though with the feed is that it gets really blurry and then super focused, very blurry.
That's a good point. If you're having that happen, you know, something we've noticed when we do that when we're filming is actually vortexes from time to time will cause that effect. If you're walking in and out of that energy, that vortex energy, I'm not surprised. I hope we have it on film because that would be really cool.
Yes,
So-
yes.
Anyways, okay, go for it.
Library. This is Mrs. Brown's library. When the house was originally built, this was the back parlor. These bookshelves that you see here, in fact, did belong to Mrs. Brown. They're not her books, unfortunately, but if you'll notice how they go up over the doorway and down the other side. These actually were purchased by a man's fraternity many, many years ago, and we had to negotiate in order to get them back. So monetarily, we had to do some investment in order to get them back here
It happens.
to the house.
And then back here, we can just kind of point here and then we'll hit it front here.
And this was what was originally called the back parlor, but Mr. Brown, when he moved here, even though he made his money in mining, he dabbled in real estate and other things, he used this room as his office.
All right.
Okay?
Oh, Kelvin thinks we should do this Facebook Live at the Lumber Baron Inn.
Of course.
Oh, absolutely.
We have to. Ask
Absolutely.
Elaine. Is Elaine still with us?
It has to be
I think
everywhere.
Elaine would like that too. We've got guests coming in, so we're going to make this fast. I love this room. It just has the best energy.
This is the front parlor here at the Molly Brown house. Front parlor was your most formal area for entertainment. There was a rule that if you were under the age of 12, you were not allowed into the front parlor. So we know that the kids ran in and jumped on the couch when nobody's looking. Had to. This particular couch is a horsehair couch. That's what they used in those days. You'll notice the stained glass window up above. This stained glass window, we had no idea that it was even here because they had dropped the ceiling when the house was a rooming house and boarding house. And they had dropped it so far down that they put plywood over both sides, and it wasn't until we removed the false ceiling that we actually found that particular stained glass window, which we're absolutely thrilled to have. Also, if you'll notice the walls are all real plaster. As you can see, the way that the pictures are hung way up at the top, not in the walls. This is what I call an old-time CD. It was a music box, and unfortunately it did not belong to Mrs. Brown. It was not hers.
All right. Let's swing over here. I just want to kind of show the front room from here.
Always love the bear rug.
Yeah, isn't it cool?
And this is just so cool over here. And you notice the theme that Margaret, I'm sorry, she'll get mad at me, had all these different rooms. They were like different parts of the world. She really wanted that kind of feel that you were in different places around the world.
This is what she called her Turkish corner. She obviously was in Turkey at some point. She saw it, had it recreated when she came home. This blackamoor that sits here has a really interesting story. One of our docents was in an antique shop in downtown Denver, and she kept walking by this blackamoor and she said, you know, I know this was from Molly's house. She called up the curator. The curator said, yeah, it sounds like it. I'll bring down some pictures. When she brought the pictures down, it was in fact Mrs. Brown's blackamoor. Unfortunately for us, it was actually sold to a lady in London, and she was waiting for it to be shipped to her. But luckily for us, the O'Mara Ford Motor Company, who's been here in Colorado since 1930, heard about it, stepped up, purchased the statue from the lady in London, and we were able to bring her home.
There she is.
And Andy would like to know if you see any activity in the parlor of children.
You know, in the parlor we get a lot of activity.
Right.
We've had all sorts of different things happen. Mainly the first thing that I noticed was when we did our private investigation here before we did an event, we got to this front area and there was literally mist, orbs, partial apparitions, all sorts of different things. And we think that that's because basically there had never been an investigation here before, so the spirits really didn't know what we were doing or what this equipment was or anything else, so they were just kind of going along. And they also several times mentioned they asked why we were here after hours. Why was that happening? Why did we come after everyone else was here? So it was just kind of a fun interaction that we had with them. So
take a look at this door behind me. This is the original front door. Do you see how large it is, how wide it is? And the reason was you had to be able to move the coffins in and out of the house and just lay in state in the front parlor. So all of the late 1800 houses always had these very, very large doors.
No matter where you go, if you go and look at the old like Victorian mansions, they always have these huge doors, and you don't ever know why, but that's the reason, is because they had to get the coffins in and out. So it's pretty amazing. Look how tall. Stevie's tall. Look at this.
Look how wide. Big door.
And really quickly, they're checking in guests, but I wanted everybody to kind of get a view of the porch. This is something that we're helping with in the fundraiser events, is to get the front porch taken care of, and they just got it put back down. And it's really incredible if you look at all the detail in it. It looks like the original.
This was part of the restoration, was redoing the front porch, and it's turned out absolutely beautiful. Beautiful tile work. We have the swing here. In fact, I have been here on very, very calm days in the summer where there's not a breeze and the swing is swinging by itself. Has several times that I've seen. So I think Mrs. Brown is out here enjoying the beautiful Colorado weather.
Oh, absolutely. Another thing that's interesting about this is that anybody who knows anything about the Molly Brown house, what's the most famous thing that you know when you come up to it? It's the lions. Now here's the lions right here, and this is actually what greets you as you come up off the street. And she brought this from
Egypt.
Yeah.
All of this has come from her trip to Egypt. Everything that you see here. We've had to have them specially painted because the people that were tagging down here in this area were ruining them, and we have a special kind of paint now that's on there, so if somebody writes on it, whatever, we can wash
Just
it right
wash
off.
it right off.
But
We got the
all of
last
these-
laugh.
All of these belong. If you can see in
Oh
the
yeah,
distance.
this is really cool. This is
behind-
Molly's church back here.
This is the church back here. A lot of brown money went into the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception. Beautiful. It's actually made from a architectural standpoint of the Notre Dame in France. It's very much similar to that. It's beautiful inside.
Yeah.
We're zooming. We're trying to see if we can get it for you.
Just beautiful.
It's really incredible. All right, I just wanted to finish up inside the first portion of what we're doing here, because I had a funny story that happened to me a long time ago, and it involved their wedding anniversary. So I wanted to tell you about it. Oh, we're back in the dark. On this stairwell, I had one of the most interesting things happen. For some reason, this is where I usually experience the most activities, coming up and down the stairs. And what anniversary was it?
25th.
their 25th wedding anniversary, they had it here on the 3rd floor where we're doing the event tonight, and everyone dressed in Victorian clothes. And I think I was about 18 at the time, something like that.
Yeah.
Had the big top hat on, the whole thing, and I was ready to go. And my girlfriend at the time was all dressed in the dress and the whole thing. So as we were coming down the stairs, getting ready to leave the event, all of a sudden she got this white face, just went blank white, and she went like this, and she just ran. She grabbed my arm, she goes, "Come on!" And we went running down the stairs. I said, "What is going on?" She would not talk to me until we were probably 3 or 4 miles away, and she told me that someone pinched her on the butt, and it scared her so badly, who wasn't there, scared her so badly that she absolutely had to get out of the house. And of course we know who that was. It was JJ. JJ was a fan of the girls, so JJ is the one who did it. So, and I remember that night we also smelled a lot of the cigar smoke as well. So anyway, okay guys, so I just want to thank you all for tuning in. This is our first Facebook Live. Hope we did okay.
I hope it's okay.
But anyway, we tried to bring you the house and some behind the scenes kind of stuff. Now again, tonight what we're going to do is we're going to attempt